if you were sitting at the table of the Rambam, of Maimonides, in the 12th century, on the night of the Seder, he would begin the Seder with a fascinating phrase. We don't have this phrase in our Haggadah, but it could teach us something about the nature of our experience of Yetzias Mitzrayim, of the Exodus. The Rambam begins with the following phrase. He says, and we have this Haggadah as part of his Mishnah Torah, the Yad HaChazaka, his magnum opus, Bibihilu Yatzanu miMitzrayim. In a hurry, we left Egypt. Then the Rambam continues, Halachma Anya. This is the poor man's bread, which is where we start our Haggadah. But the Rambam added this phrase, Bibihilu Yatzanu miMitzrayim. We left, it was in a hurry. You wonder why. Why is that so important? Why is that the first line that captures the essence of the Haggadah according to the Rambam? We went out fast. The truth is, it's not just the Rambam. If you look in the Chumash, Ki b'chipazon yatzasa me'eretz Mitzrayim. God reminds us, don't forget, we left Mitzrayim in a haste. Even the matzah itself. The matzah that we eat, the centerpiece of our Seder table, of our meal, that is bread which was baked quickly. Ugos matzos ki gorshu mi Mitzrayim. They were driven out. There was no time. There was no time to bake the matzah when we left. When the Jews ate the Korban Pesach, how did they eat it? Mosnechem chagurim. Their belt was on. They had their shoes on. They were ready to roll. They got to eat fast. Why are they eating fast? Why is it all about speed? What's the need for speed at the Seder? Perhaps this sheds some light on the nature of the experience of the Seder, of Yetzias Mitzrayim, of the Exodus. Because if you think about an Eved, a servant, a slave, there's one critical dimension of his life which is lacking, and that is time. Whereas an Eved, a servant, he eats, he sleeps, he accomplishes, but time is not his. Because he's constantly at the beck and call of his master. To him, time is unnecessary and irrelevant because he is not in control of his time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God, when he took us out of Mitzrayim, he was ready to give us one mitzvah before we got started on our journey. HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim. Time is ours. Time is ours, and we control it. We guide it because we are now free people. We have a mission, and therefore we control our time, which truly means we control our destiny. So on one level, we're interested in time because it symbolizes freedom. But there's one other level in terms of speed. The nature of chipazon, of going out quickly, doesn't just make us sensitive to time. It says we're moving quickly perhaps because we are me'al hazman. We're moving faster than time itself allows. Now obviously this is not some time machine where we're able to move quicker than time. That's not possible. So what do? We simulate that by going b'chipazon, very quickly. Bibihilu yatzanu miMitzrayim. We left Mitzrayim quickly because it was unnatural. It was me'al hateva. God scooped us out even though we shouldn't have naturally been able to experience this redemption, this freedom. So one part of our Seder is saying we are free people and therefore our time is ours. Be conscious of time. Create a sanctity in time and therefore create meaning in our life. But on another level we say we moved out not just being conscious of time, but being above time, me'al hateva. We're not just any ordinary nation. We are given this gift of a supernatural redemption. Our time is above time. Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. We have to identify that time and sanctify it. Sanctify it with something transcendent. And that's what we do every Yom Tov, especially on the holiday of Pesach. Says the Rambam, you want to understand what the formation of the Jewish people was? This unnatural, above natural experience of the creation of our nation? Bibihilu yatzanu miMitzrayim. We were faster than time. according to psychologists, we have two brains. Well, one brain with two parts. We have a right brain and a left brain. The dominant part of our brain is the left side. That's the language, cognition, mathematic, analytical aspect of our mind. But then there's the right brain. That's the experiential, art, music, feeling component of who we are. Judaism expresses both, and the Haggadah expresses both as well. For the first part of the Haggadah, we're in our left brain. You ever think about that? We're telling a story with a specific script. Now we're embellishing on it, but we have the script, and we even learn. We take our language skills, our rabbinic toolbox of analysis, and we look through every level of the Haggadah, of the portion of Arami Novi. We're using our left brain to analyze both the story and the laws. We're careful to be focused. But then there's a shift. Once we have told the story with our language, with our left brain, once we've had the sipur of Yetzias Mitzrayim, once we've expressed it in those words, we shift. We say to Hashem, Lefichach anu chayavim lahodos lahala l'shabeach. We say, therefore, we feel the spontaneous need to begin to praise. What's this? This is our right brain. This is what we call Hallel. Hallel is not a recitation. It's not a left brain experience. It's a song. You never noticed, you may have noticed, I should say, you may have noticed that on the night of the Seder we say Hallel without a bracha. Now some of us say a bracha in shul, but many of us say the Seder Hallel without a bracha. You know why that is? Many explain that's because the Hallel on the Seder night, it's not a recitation, it's not a language left brain activity, it's an experience, it's an emotional response, it's a visceral expression of joy to having just left Mitzrayim. The previous paragraph, before we begin the introduction of Lefichach, was Uvachol dor v'dor chayav adam laharos es atzmo, according to the Rambam. In every generation, every person has to demonstrate, or in our Haggadah, b'chol dor v'dor, in every generation, chayav adam liros es atzmo. We have to see ourselves as if we just left Mitzrayim. Well, we just explained it, we just told it, we just said it, so now we're going to feel it with Hallel. Hallel is the time where we sing, where we have that musical quality that we introduce to our table. Because this is a key expression of our Yiddishkeit and of our relationship with Hashem. It's not just the left brain, the analysis, but it's also the feeling. It's also the drinking of the 4 cups, of feeling that freedom, and specifically Hallel Shel Shira, the Hallel of song, that we conclude our Seder. It's with this that we can make the bracha of the Geula. Goal Yisrael, when can we say Goal Yisrael? Only when we have both components. Yes, we build the bedrock of the emotional underpinnings of our Seder, but at the end of the day, our relationship with Hashem, it has to be one that's filled with emotion. It has to be one that's filled with spontaneous energy and with song. And that's why we make sure that a piece of this Hallel is part of the framework of the Haggadah, even though the rest of it is going to be said after the meal, because in general we sing our songs, we thank God on a full belly when we are satiated, but we can't say the bracha of Asher Ga'alanu. We can't say that our Hastori, our Haggadah, our Maggid is complete only with the language side, only with the left brain. We have to also have the Hallel, that feeling that we bring to our table, to our Maggid. And with that we close before we say the final bracha.